You already got me thinking about it.
Cover and move.
Cover and move. Let me ask you about jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You know, I'm wondering if rolling on the mat with a guy like Dean Lister is, you know, one of the closest things you can come to a life-death situation. Is it true that a lot of SEALs are drawn into the martial arts because it's so real?
There's definitely SEAL. I mean, SEALs like to fight, and SEALs like to train. They like to know how to fight, and how you going to learn how to fight? You got to train. So, without a doubt, I was always, you know, the first time I ever trained with someone, and you get choked. And, you know, I was 19 years old, I think, and I was, you know, had this old SEAL Master Chief who knew jiu-jitsu. This is in 1992 or 1993. I didn't know anything. No one knew anything. And he had been training with the Gracies up in the Torrance garage. So he knew jiu-jitsu. He was like a high-level white belt at the time, which meant, you know, he knew like the basic moves. And here I was, you know, this young SEAL, and here's this old Master Chief, and he's choking me, arm locking me. I couldn't do anything. And I realized that this was a power. This was a legit power. And I didn't ever want to be in a situation where somebody would have this power over me.
How have you found watching the UFC evolve? You know, we remember UFC 1 and 2 and 3,
right,
where it was just all these styles and a lot of reality enter people's minds, like when you started simulating real combat training, and the learning curve is so steep, and you look at the evolution of fighters. How do you find it these days? Do you still think the learning curve is as steep, and where do you think it's going?
It's not as steep. I mean, there was a time where, you know, people didn't know jiu-jitsu and just got, you know, destroyed by Royce Gracie. You know, bigger, stronger, whatever, didn't matter. Jiu-jitsu would just win. And now everybody knows jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows wrestling. Everybody knows boxing. So now you're going to get to a point in the near future where it's about the athlete. You know, and we're close to that now, where it's really about the athlete that's executing. And so I think that's cool. It's not quite as fun for me as seeing, you know, the skill set, because basically everyone's going to have the same skill sets shortly, you know, and it's going to be boiled down to who is the better athlete. Now, there will still be some piece of creativity in there, and creativity can win. So, you know, I always give the example of guitar, right? If you go to any guitar store in England or in America and you hang up a sign and say, hey, I need an experienced guitar player that can play all these songs, you'll get all kinds of applications, and they can really do it. But the question is, who has the creativity to break out and create something new? And so that's what you're going to start to see. Still, I believe that will stay in the game somewhat, is who can be creative, and who can take the basic principles and the basic skills and add something or use them in a way that hasn't been used before. So I think that'll be fun to watch, but it definitely, it's turning into more of how good the athlete is, not how good the martial art itself is.
Yeah, creativity. I think of John Jones in his early fights, very creative. Greg Jackson was always like, I want to keep your creativity. I don't want to train too many fighting memes into you. And like Anthony Pettis and just all of that, you can see how that wins fights as opposed to just the skill level. When you see someone like Conor McGregor, you know, you train people that probably mentally are what makes them better than other people ultimately. When you see someone like Conor and you watch his mental game, even his creative game, what do you see there that's different in him?
I think he's got a really good creative mind for the game, and that's something that you're kind of born with, because you can look at, you know, we could name dozens of fighters that you never saw them do anything creative, and some of them, you know, possibly were even world champions, you know, but they just had the honed skills and the right skill sets that they were able to excel and win. But, you know, I think Conor's very creative. He's confident enough that allows him to be creative. And then I think, you know, he's a real showman. So good on him.
Oh, what about the mental warfare aspect? He does seem to, even when you know it's coming, he seems to get in people's heads regardless.
Yeah.
And these are guys that their job is not letting guys in their heads to a certain extent. And he still seems to squeeze in there somehow.
Yeah. He's getting after it. It's fun to watch. Yeah.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonreelacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media login and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonreelacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.